are we getting? How's the flooding over there? What's the time there now? 8.
Shiba wings are flying high in crypto skies. We touch the sky. Solana is our ride or die. NFTs cook up a fry. Wings on chain, we actually cook. Melbourne's hot, come take a look. Ghost kitchens, partners in the nook. Bet with Wall Street, life's a book.
All right, if you guys are just joining in, retweet, comment, like the spaces. You guys know the drill.
With a wink, Shiba wings make you think. Crypto dreams, don't let them sink. Solana hearts, they never blink. Wings on chain, we actually cook. Melbourne's hot, come take a look. Ghost kitchens, partners in the nook. Bet with Wall Street, life's a book. Digital coins, a tasty bite. Melbourne streets lit up at night. NFTs and crypto's might. Solana's wings take flight. Wall Street bets, they got the hype. Shiba's spicy, take a bite. Bad days fade, love's in sight. Melbourne's light so bright.
All right, y'all. You guys are just tuning in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Let me just say, short-term, right, pain for long-term gains. Team and I just been having some great conversations before we went live here. Just letting you guys know that, we're all smiles here. We're working, cooking, background here. Not worried about the overall market sentiment. Obviously, guys, on a macro, crypto is doing still what crypto does. If you're zoomed in on a micro, you will seriously need tissues. We don't cry in the casino over here, but we're not a meme coin, guys. We're a meal coin. Sooner than later, you guys are going to see that consumption is going to be the name of the game, and we are going to be ahead of the curve, seeing as we have RWB in place to handle one of the biggest issues that this space has, and that's liquidity, guys. Liquidity. If you guys want to say that 3 times fast, I bet you get tongue twisted. So, with that being said, I'd like to welcome the whole team onto here. We got Mark, we got Ransom, we got Rack, we got Jamie Wall Street Bets, who's just fresh off his trip from the DC Summit, which he had a ball on. I mean, I've never heard so many stories of becoming a kid again than Jamie letting us know how his fun time was at the DC Summit. So there's lots of great things coming for Chip Wings. And you guys already know who's in the building. Give another drum roll for Jason, the founder and CEO of Shiba Wing. So, guys, we are doing amazing. We're fine. You guys are worried about the number go up. Number will go up on its own, right? We're here focused on the big business side of things and giving you guys the info, announcements, updates, so on and so forth of what's happening within Shiba Wings. Not only just that, we're going to talk markets and also get into a bit of deep dive here at DC Summit with Jamie and Wall Street Bets. So how's it going, guys? How are we doing?
Good. Thank you. How are you guys doing?
Amazing, man.
Fantastic.
There's no bear markets in business, man. There's no bear markets in business.
That's it.
Yeah, no complaints here. Hey, there's complaints out there, but none here.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. These are discounts, man. I don't care if you DCA here, you DCA lower. These are all opportunities for people. This is the thing, man. People don't know when the market's going to go up. There's just a lot of people get involved in the market, so it's eventually going to go up, right? So wherever you DCA in it, it's going to be a nice price point for you because this is nothing but discounts on all coins across the board, whether it be alts, memes, whatever. But again, I like what Jamie had said on a conversation here in the background before we got live. We're not a meme coin, guys. You guys have to really, really wrap your guys' heads around that. We're not a meme coin. We are definitely a business, and we are set, right? We are set on the business side of things to see this project as a success because it's already successful in real life. So bringing it here. How was your time at DC Summit? Jamie?
Dude, it's just been a mad 2 weeks. I'd say DC Summit started the week prior, or at least I've lost track of time. whatever, it must have been a Tuesday night at like 11 o'clock where I got a text message like, dude, you got to come to Denver tomorrow to do these things. And it's like, fuck, I can't get out of this one. So literally 11 p.m. I bought a ticket for 6 a.m. the next morning, which meant I had to be at the airport at 4, right? Which means like,
I'm sure the wife was happy.
Well, the wife just came in the room to get some stuff. No, wife wasn't happy because I left her alone with the 2 kids, and then I came back as soon as I could, and then I told her, hey, there's a chance I go to DC. Turns out it's like impossible to get into the actual White House summit, which, trust me when I say like the strings that I pulled were at the highest levels from every which way, like business, crypto, and politics. I'm not much of a name dropper, but let's just say that like it's the highest level in politics, right? So, but then as soon as I found out that everybody was going to DC anyways, right? Like when I went to ETH Denver, the actual event itself sucked. Like I don't want to shit on ETH, so I didn't tweet the picture of the event, but yeah, all the good stuff was happening around. Everyone was having their own little parties or after parties or get-togethers or summits or conferences or speeches or whatever. So I figured, well, the same thing's going to happen in DC because I started getting invites by people that matter, right, to these VIP things, these black tie events. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess everyone's going to people that I know weren't able to get in, right? And once again, these are people that like, as far as I actually don't know who ended up getting in. I'm taking an educated guess that Michael Saylor is the only name that we can all recognize that was get in. I don't know if he did or didn't. Educated guess is that he did get in. I didn't end up keeping track, with the exception of, who was it? I got to meet him later that night. The Rug Radio, Farouk from Rug Radio. He's like, dude, I got in. I was like, how the hell did you get in? Like nobody in this. I was like in the room with Brock Pierce and like I'm not gonna name drop. Like, sorry, but lots of good people that are really well connected, right? And this dude's in there, and he's like, yeah, I got in. I was like, how'd you get in? He's like, with a press pass. I'm like, you motherfucker. That's right. You gave the system, like influencers are now media. Like I could have done that, right? But it's both good and bad because as far as like not being able to get into the actual White House summit, right? Because like I feared that it was just going to be a photo op, but it turns out that it was. But in addition to the photo op, the people that they allowed into the conference were only people that were Bitcoin and or business and or finance experts. And the topic of discussion was how to load up on Bitcoin without disrupting the market. So like they actually had a very productive and well-pointed conversation, which makes me happy because oftentimes we think that politics is a show. And, to some extent it's a very big part of politics. And so it brought me satisfaction because had I been invited or somebody, like I can't contribute to a conversation productively, when it comes to how to buy Bitcoin in mass, since that's not my area of expertise. So I was like, wow, they're actually trying to get things done. And I was actually able to put myself on lists because they're going to continue to have these on different subspecialties or whatever. But the actual, the surrounding social events like National Press Club, got to meet a bunch of politicians and businessmen and a bunch of crypto related people. Now that I dropped Brock's name, I guess not. He hosted a black tie event, which is hilarious. Like, does that mean I have to wear a suit? I'm not wearing a tux, that's for sure, right? Like, does that mean I have to wear a suit? And then like people are like, yeah, you should probably wear a suit. I'm like, fuck, right? And I tweeted the night before. I was like, honey, do you know where my suits are? She's like, you own a suit? I was like, yeah. Remember, I used to be like a grown up. And so anyway, so I got my suit. And I was ready to go. This was for Friday night, but I arrived on Thursday. On Thursday night, they're like, you got to come down to the National Press Club. So for people that don't know, pretty much everything in DC is like formal and politics, whatever. I was like, dude, I only brought one suit. Like, I can't, like, what the hell do I do now? Like, you know what? I'm just kind of went down there, had a good time. Had some extremely interesting conversations. Then the following night, the event at Brock's he bought this thing called like the Pier, like the school, Pierce School or School Pierce or whatever. It turns out it's named after a president whose name was Pierce. I don't know all the presidents, but I clearly didn't know that guy. And he had this building by DC, and it's like an antique with all sorts of history or whatever. He actually bought the building because he wants to get into politics, and he was run for president, and he's done all the lobbying work and stuff. But he would just, it was just this extravagant party. He didn't hold back on, any detail, right? Like any expense, the entertainment, the food, the I don't drink, but for people who do that, they took out this, it must have been like a 200-liter bottle of champagne. It took multiple people to like carry. They couldn't down it with like the hundreds of people that were there. Like there was still champagne left by the end of the night. But I got to meet, really, really, really great people.
That's awesome. That's awesome because you know what, from the people who weren't, obviously at the DC summit, like there was, especially X is like a minefield right now, right? Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. It's a freaking minefield right now. And it's filled with lots of bearish FUD, obviously, about the summit, which is they say it's lackluster. And I'm like, well, it's lackluster because you have an expectation of what you think, should happen at a summit or what price action should be for a summit. But a summit is exactly what it was. It lets you know that they're meeting together. It doesn't mean you're privy to hear those conversations, right?
Can I just put a stop to this price thing?
Do it, please. Do it, please.
Right.
Do it for us, please, Jamie.
So when Bitcoin goes down, we hear this whole thing failed. When the stock market goes down, it's just an economic cycle.
Exactly.
Okay, the fucking stock market has been around for hundreds of years. It survived the Great Depression. If the price of the thing goes down, it goes down. If people don't understand how, like, the fact that now Bitcoin has been mature enough, if you guys notice this, I want everyone here and anyone that's listening to please do the following exercise. 9:30 Eastern a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday, as long as it's not a holiday, I want you to see what happens to the price of Bitcoin and most other blue chips. You shall notice that exactly at 9:30 a.m., you're going to get some very unexplained volatility. Very rapid. The only thing I can predict is that it happens at that instant. The reason why is because Bitcoin is now so mature, so grown up, so involved in the actual Wall Street that it opens at the same time because their archaic system still has 9 a.m., like 9:30 a.m. is when they open the market. It's now integrated. This thing is now a part of the system, right? And so when the White House has a summit about whatever, tariffs or the border, or I guess they don't do interest rate stuff, but like I'll keep the interest rate one out of it because that's not technically politics. That's like monetary policy, which is supposed to be an autonomous entity. But like if you're talking about trade agreements and you're having different things like that, like the stock market, it does these things and it prices other things. It is so mature now that it is pricing stuff in so much ahead of time. The moment somebody said we're doing a White House summit, that day is when the price did whatever it was supposed to do, right? People don't wait until Friday, 2 p.m. when the summit takes place to say, oh, they're talking about Bitcoin. No, that was announced 3 months ago and it was priced in 3 months ago. That's how it works in the stock market, right? Like things priced in ahead of time as information comes in. There's one of the positive externalities. It's like fancy talk for like the a positive byproduct of having stock markets with numbers that move around is this concept called price discovery. Those numbers that move around tell you something that is relevant about the world, right? So if the numbers all start going down, that is information that is relevant to somebody somewhere. It's telling you that something is happening. If the numbers are all going up, that is information as well. If the entire stock market is going up, but Apple is going down, that tells there's information there. That's called price discovery. And there's a lot of productive use to that information that you're able to gain from it. crypto is now a part of this thing now, whether we like it or not. So like, if you think that people are going to wait until Friday at 2 p.m. to price in that the government is thinking about buying Bitcoin, that's been priced in since November when the election took place. That's when you got the summit rally, right? Now they're pricing shit that's going to happen a year from now that you don't even know about yet, because now you're playing with the big boys that do know what's going to happen 6 months from now or a year from now, or at least they're predicting what's going to happen. So like, enough with the prices. Let me just say this. Bitcoin's capped at 21 million. People keep fucking and having kids. Okay? So the population is going to grow. Inevitably, some percentage of that growing population is going to buy Bitcoin. Plus, you have a bunch of people that lose their Bitcoin wallets. As a result, you're going to have supply that is either fixed or actually is going down because of fat fingers. And then you have the population that's growing, a percentage of which is going to buy this fixed, technologically fixed supply. Numbers going to go up because math, period. Right? Like, how long? Be patient. You're now in Warren Buffett's territory. If you don't like it, you got to go buy Fartcoin or whatever the hell, right? If you want number go up right away, go to like Pump Fund and chill out there for a little bit and lose all your money. But if you're actually like, you know, if you're actually taking this seriously, want to put in big money, and you're using cryptocurrencies as a form of an investment, not speculative, like not speculation, I can swear on my life that Bitcoin's going to go up. There is only but one scenario under which that promise is broken. And the promise is hard to break, which is this concept of this quantum computing, you know, being a disruptor towards everything crypto related, for which, of course, I brought it up because obviously that's a topic that matters not only to the entire like crypto community, but to the government itself, which is now loading up on this thing. So they also want an answer to it. And I didn't get alpha per se, but I got enough inside information to know that they got it covered. And it's something along the lines of, since they've already have like 3 separate NIST algorithms that are quantum proof, right? They now have the ability to encrypt in a way that a quantum computer can't decrypt it. There's going to have to be some type of a central authority that is able to actually do a hard fork at some point, with some type of grace period for Bitcoin specifically, because that's the one that kind of leaves the rest of these other coins. And it's going to have to be done in a quasi-centralized way, right? That the person like that had that alpha was Michael Saylor himself, right? And you can look through Twitter and find some hints from that. If that maneuver goes wrong, whatever that maneuver looks like, then yes, it's possible Bitcoin goes down. Right. But that's the only scenario under which I see this thing like not going up forever in the long term. So, yeah, enough about the price. Like
masterclass right there. If anybody's not taking notes on what, you know, Jamie just said, that's our holders and, you know, really paying attention, that's some market knowledge for you guys. And that's entirely true. I can't rebuttal on any of that. It's totally
no, but like you have to. I'm going to see if I can find. I'm going to put my mic on mute for a second. I'm going to see if I can find like a video on my phone from this thing, so you can get an idea of what this summit was about. Because I'm actually annoyed that the word price just came up. So
yeah,
talk about something for a minute, and I'm going to find this video, and then I'm going to show you stuff that matters.
Go, Ransom.
Let me jump in really quick.
Go for it.
You knew it. You knew. And I'll touch on something that Jamie was kind of hinting at right there. These summits, a lot of times, so that summit specifically, right? But any of these like big crypto events and things like that, sometimes something big does come out of the event. Jamie even mentioned though, and it's just true. The price action you're expecting from the event, hell, it happens when the event's announced. The news that you're expecting from the event, look, especially the crypto summit, right? Some people called it a flop. They said it, you know, it didn't wow us. There wasn't price action from it. Yeah, I can understand that, but you're thinking so short time framed if you believe that. The news from the summit hasn't even hit the ears of the public yet because it wasn't announced on camera. And Jamie touched on this. He's dancing all around it, and it's so true. The hands that were shaked, the elbows that were rubbed, the schmoozing, the conversations, the networking that happened there, and then a lot of back end, I wouldn't say back end really, but just like behind the camera deals. These are the things that will be coming out over the coming weeks and even months. That is what happened at the summit. What happened on camera is almost irrelevant.
This is entirely true. I mean, again, I think the only people that are complaining are the ones that just wanted their bags pumped about 20-30%, overnight. But
I'll say this. So on that point, they bought thinking they would pump. And look what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's a coin term, no crying in the casino, right? Like, again, you guys are going to bet on things like that, then kind of have to be expected to be met with your speculation being wrong, right? So go for it.
All right. So I found the video, and I'm actually going to do my best to hold the video up to it's probably going to be too small, especially if people are watching this through their cell phone, but you'll be able to hear it for sure. This right here, this is Piers Brock. It is giving a speech, right, like with the champagne toast. There was just this little part where it became very evident as to what this summit was about. Like,
this is going to be the first night that I can sleep and rest assured that my door ain't getting kicked down. Amen. I never did because I can't. But my friends don't have to incorporate in foreign countries, maybe flee this nation to create systems that will build a brighter, better world. America's back. Thank you, President Trump. The Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. And now the banks have been told they can bank us. You have permission to ethically and morally build, to create the future.
So I'll pause it there because it went on for a while, and then they ended up like singing the national anthem. But like, if I could synthesize part of the stuff that was relevant, like that was what the summit was about: the legitimization of crypto, not the number go up part, right? Like the fact that the banks, just like when marijuana became decriminalized in Colorado and these businesses had to do cash, and that was its only issue. Like the legitimization of crypto is here. Number go up is not the topic, right? Like the topic is now, like I was not in crypto since the beginning, since a lot of these hardcore people were, but I did listen to the conversations and I heard, oh, this has the ability to do this, and because of the blockchain, and it's like trustless, and you can do ledgers, and like there was all these aspirations as to how they can use the technology for various things in a productive manner. The people can collaborate worldwide, in a way that is just productive, right? That actually feeds things to people. It's not just about like money. It's just like you can now, thanks to what's happening in politics in this summit, you can now happily, as Shiba Wings is doing, without the risk of this regulatory component, having to go to, well, the way Brock said it, like your door knocked in, but I'd see it more like close your business down or whatever. But like people can now start doing things that are cool, that are well past, they're like above my pay grade, because they don't have, they've opened the doors for that. That by itself also makes number go up for people that care about number go up. I care so much more about like people eating and people more jobs, right? Like the backstage, I started listening to, I'm not going to turn this into a political thing, but you guys were talking politics, right? And, and obviously in politics, there's going to be a lot of sides to the thing and different points of views. But one of the things that comes up is there's going to be jobs. Why do we care about jobs? Because everybody wants to feed their kids, regardless of what country you're in or what political stance. Like that's one thing we can all agree on, is we all like eating to stay alive, and we all like our security, whatever. Productivity is like what ends up happening with this, and I think that we're now sitting on the precipice of an alternate ecosystem by which I'm not going to use the word finance. It's going to be an ecosystem by which the world can collaborate in a productive manner, right? If you think, what the currency did for world commerce, when it's like, I'll give you a banana and you give me an apple in return, right? But then like try to give it to the guy, but like doesn't work. So someone's like, well, why don't we just take the little gold coin, and everyone accepts it. And then all of a sudden, like, things were better because of this medium, the ability to have this thing, it's a medium for exchange of goods and services. It was relatively universal. That helped the world grow. That helped more stuff happen. If you think about, and I actually say this frequently as to why the U.S. Is so much further ahead than Mexico or Latin America, where I live. And I frequently point to the justice system. As imperfect as it is, it's a hell of a lot better than it is in other countries, and especially in other developing nations. That justice system, I will tie this to crypto, I swear. The justice system is good because it enforces things called promises or contracts. I promise that I'll paint your house and you'll pay me money and you sign this piece of paper. Or I promise that I'll pay you for the car slowly and I'll sign this piece of paper. They give me the car and I have to come. And if I don't fulfill my promise, then a judge enforces it. And then, there's consequences to it. Lack of me being able to enforce some type of a promise or trust or rely on another party doing their thing, then people would never get shit done. In the crypto, like the thing that it's based off of is quite literally making sure that like promises are kept, right? And the simplest terms, yes, I promise if I give you 1 Bitcoin, I actually had it ahead of time. That's the promise Bitcoin blockchain does. Other blockchains do more sophisticated things, smart contracts, things of that nature. That level of cooperation worldwide is like fucking huge. And I get annoyed when the price of Bitcoin, like, what do you want it to go up before you buy it or what? Like,
no, I mean, again, this is the mind state that people have been used to, right? Coming into, I mean, if this is somebody's first go at crypto, right? My thought process, and this might differ from others, but congratulations, like you entered in at a time where things are going to be, more positively adopted, right? And it makes me super excited for what Jason has built here with Shipwings because of everything that's handled on the outside of crypto being established first and foremost, right? And everything is database. It's not a promise on hope, right? Or hype. This actually has numbers that are involved. And just like you said at the beginning of your whole explanation about the price, it's all math. And when it's brought down to that consensus, you really got to start researching for those that are panicked about this whole quote unquote price action that's happening in the space. Like there's a lot of math that's already been done. And it's already going to be baked in. If anything, you just not seeing it because you're so focused or hyper focused on the micro of a chart, So I'm glad you're able to actually explain all that, Jamie, with your knowledge and expertise coming from the other side, right?
The thing that we need to like appreciate that now that we're growing up as a crypto is that we have to accept and understand that there are many participants in this field, and you have to first identify which participant we're either talking to or is talking to us, because at this point there are so many that you can't just say crypto. Like there are 2 or 3 words where I go like this. If somebody says the word utility, I go like this. If somebody says the word AI, I go like this. And if somebody says the word crypto, I go like this until they tell me a different word to continue the conversation, because it means those 3 words mean so many different things to so many different people. It is now like those like ink block tests that they give you. It's like, what do you see? A pair of tits or like some little kid getting murdered with a knife or whatever? Like you're projecting your shit. Like, so if you're into crypto because you want to invest in Bitcoin, and it'll go up, and everything else goes up and down with Bitcoin. That I actually don't have a good explanation for. I haven't yet heard a good reason for it, but for whatever reason, Bitcoin is the leader in that show. So just invest in that one. It is both the least volatile and the leader and the most decentralized and whatever. There's your investment. Buy it, hold it. It'll be higher later. If you want to try and get rich quick, you want to have fun with it, go over to Solana this year because that's where it's at. Buy some meme coins, pump fun. Like, it's a great time. I'm doing it all the time. I've lost a hell of a lot more money than I've made, but I've enjoyed the process. That is another component of crypto I've identified too. Entertainment, long-term investment. Outside of that, the reason why I, Jamie, am in crypto, it took a long time for me to get into it because for me it's just numbers. I come from Wall Street where there's plenty of things with numbers for me to pick from. I didn't need another thing with numbers, especially one where I have to download MetaMask and configure a custom network with an RPC with the URL. I could have just done things with Robinhood, right? Like, I don't need to do all this headache. And why can't I send my whatever coin to Solana? It's a different address. It doesn't no. Okay. So why did I get into crypto? It wasn't because numbers fluctuate. I have fun doing that in all sorts of different places. I came to crypto because I quickly realized its potential. Actually, at first I thought it was going to merge with traditional finance. I now think traditional finance is having to actually adapt itself to crypto because it is now so much more sophisticated. And in the world of finance, the reason why I do like finance is because it leaves the world in a better place. People bitch about Ponzi schemes and fractional back reserve systems, which arguably are the same thing. You give $100 to the bank keeps $10 and lends the $90 out to other people, which then make businesses and hire whatever people, employees, and have to buy a sign for the business or a house or whatever. And I actually used this example when I was at this party, and somebody said, "Dude, it's actually like $900 that they lend," which told me the guy clearly knows about it's called a reverse repo thing, which is a very sophisticated maneuver of basically doing infinite money, whatever. But whatever, to $900 if you really want to do it that way. Those $900 are like pushed into the economy for the most part to stimulate growth, right? And the stock market at some point in time, at least if you go to the I'm sure Wikipedia, I need to do this because I bring this up frequently, but I'm sure today if you go to a textbook and see what is a stock market, it'll say the capital markets is where you go when you want to grow your business. You have your little Shiba Wings restaurant and you want to have more restaurants, and you sell shares because you tell them, hey, look at this chart, bottom to the left and top to the right, projections, money go up, buy shares, right? And so people give you money, and then you take the money, you open up more branches, etc. That was supposedly what the stock market does. It does none of that anymore. It did at some point, but it does none of that anymore. At this point, it's all like a liquidity event to cash out for the VCs. In order to be into that part of the game, you need to be a qualified investor, which basically means you need to be rich. People that aren't rich can't participate in the pre-IPO stuff. So little guys are kind of staying out of that. And then crypto's able to kind of fill in that very big void that is missing. And that's pretty freaking cool, right? Shiba Wings is a great example of that. Shiba Wings isn't being financed by the token. It's actually, the token itself is actually an expense for Shiba Wings. And it's under the marketing column, right? It's so show me your balance sheet or your cash flows, whatever, your income statement. It's been a while since I did these things. Where is this Shiba Wings thing? It's under the marketing expenses. Why? Because from the profits, buying and burning the token. Why would you do such a thing? Because the crypto community is the most professional marketing team on earth, right? They chill and they make noise and they love it or whatever it is. So literally the job of this business is to buy and burn the token to basically proxy hire the best marketing team on earth. That's creative way of thinking. That's innovation. That's also the math as to why the number was going to go up on that one. There's going to be other stuff, other people that are going to try and go public on the blockchain, or people that are trying to fractionalize real estate or artwork or this or so many cool things that actually leave, make the world a lot more inclusive, or leave a system which is a lot more inclusive to the rest of the world. So you don't have to be a qualified investor to be able to actually participate in these early stage companies if you want to try and speculate, right? Because they are higher risk and they are higher return, and that's part of that thing. Pump fund is the highest risk and the highest return. right? Close to the lottery ticket. And then you have the whole spectrum as to gambling. So like, as far as where you are, you can be anywhere on the spectrum when you're in crypto. I'm personally very attracted to the entrepreneurial, innovative side, as to what is possible, technologically speaking, thanks to this technology that exists. I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes because
let me
Go
touch
for
on
it.
something you said there. And at cryptocurrency, again, I use the word because it is kind of, it's the lingo that people talk about. But I said this on one of our conversations before, right? As far as these are concerned, they're not currencies, right? Stocks as well. Like, are stocks currency? No, they're not currency. They're assets. And that's what all of these are. Some of them are like trying to become payment processing systems and stuff like that. That's fine. Blockchain technology, which is what is really what we're talking about here. It's not cryptocurrency because it's not crypto. That means hidden. This is the opposite of that. Blockchain shows us what's going on. It's the opposite of hidden, and it's not currency either. So I don't like that term. But people who think that blockchain technology is going to be the future of finance just aren't thinking big enough. Jamie, you were touching on some really good points there. One of the ones that I think, I was actually having a conversation with my friend recently, and he had concern about AI writing. He specifically mentioned like essays, papers, dissertations for college and things like that, right? The only way that we can tell right now, really, because they've gotten so sophisticated, is to train another AI to try to determine, was this written by an AI? And it's hit or miss. It's a game of, it's predator and prey, right? So that's constantly back and forth. How do we solve that? Blockchain.
It's easy.
We do it on blockchain.
No, it's much easier. You just let them cheat. No, I'm
The
serious.
smarter people are going to cheat, the better, better.
No, like you just let them cheat, and then they'll just like then they won't be your competition when they go out and get a job, right? Like
That's true too. But like I said though too, honestly, realistically, the people who cheat the best will actually be a lot of times the more the more creative, the more innovative as well. So the cream does always rise to the top. But if we want to figure out what's going on in terms of, was this made by this? Was this made by that? Again, everything's moving to blockchain. It's not going to be the future of finance. It's the future of everything.
I mean, yeah, like that's boy, did you just hit like the only thing you didn't use was the word utility. So like, I don't know
What
where
about project, Jamie? I know you love that.
Well, I do when it's a project. I don't like it with Shiba. There are projects out there that are really good, and there are projects. They have a start and an end date, and that's it. Like it's just this scene. Like, this is a bit. I don't like when we're talking about this thing, but like, and I don't like the word utility because you can use them in both. The project's perfectly legitimate, and I don't have an issue with that one when you not with Shiba Wings. But the thing with God, you hit on so many things. Which one strays the least from this topic? Like, yeah, I'll stay away from AI because that one is too much of a deviation. So I'll just stay on the ramifications of first of all, like if people cheat, let them cheat. Like I give you this point. There are people who are like me. They're very like lazy. But in order for me to be lazy, I have to do a lot of work, right? And I have to do a lot of things smart in order for me to later have to do less work. And I would do this when I had some job as an intern when I was a teenager or whatever it is. And like my job was literally like to scan something and then like crop it to the right size and then put it into a PDF and save it to a file. And then it was like a rinse and repeat thing, right? And so I spent a week not doing a single one of those, but I programmed the automation for it to happen. So then for the next 3 weeks, I was like this. And then my boss would come around and be like, what are you doing? Like, what you paid me to do. Like, doesn't look like it. I'm like, look, like, watch the screen. Look how quickly it's spitting out your shit. It goes, oh, so you're not even doing it anymore? I was like, you paid me to do this and it's being done. Right? Like, so yes, I cheated in that sense, but like that was a good kind of cheating. So you're right. There are certain shortcuts that if people are able to take, that doesn't, I don't look down upon that, right? Like if you've actually just literally made it, like the shoes I wear, these, it's like an advertisement for the Skechers. You don't have to bend over to tie your shoelaces. So if I go to the airport, this is what I'm wearing. So I don't have to bend over when I have to put my shoes back and I just slip right in. So I'm fucking lazy, right? Like I know how to tie them if I really wanted to, but it's just more efficient and it's easier. But for the actual cheaters that want to like use ChatGPT for their homework or copy the other guy's test, like let them do it. And I'll tell you why, because number one, when they get out in the world and they try to have a conversation with somebody that's intelligent about anything, they'll be able to read right through them. If you don't actually know what you were supposed to have known when you wrote the essay, you're not going to be able to like hold an interesting conversation, let alone pass an interview, right? So that person's going to end up struggling if they're trying to apply for a job, regardless of the grades. Second, when it comes to like the unless you're in the world of academics or a professional, such as like an engineer, dentist, or whatever it is, for the vast majority of people that go to college and then like study a thing, like they don't end up doing they end up working at a desk job anyways. Doesn't matter if you learn history, liberal or arts, performing arts, like like the English, math, whatever. Like they just, there's very little correlation between the grades that you got and where you end up in life. And I had this conversation I was having with my sister the other day. I was a terrible student. In high school, I barely graduated. In college, I did better because I got a chance to pick my own classes, and so I was interested, and so therefore I performed better. But then I almost barely graduated there too, not because of my grades, but because I didn't feel like taking the last 2 electives that I needed to take. I was like, I was like, I'm smart. I don't need this stupid piece of paper or whatever. My mom then nagged me for the next 2 years for me to like just do the online class so that I could graduate. And so eventually I did that, right? But like what ends up, what you end up learning in school is you learn how to learn, right? That is really the biggest skill that I walked away from. So if people want to skip out on learning how to learn, like that's less competition for when you get out in the real world. And you don't even
like you said too, when you talk to somebody, you get a feel for them. It doesn't matter how much they've cheated or how much they've automated their thinking process on paper. When you get nitty gritty with somebody, you're talking to somebody, especially on interviews or something like that, their merit shines through, or their lack thereof. I've got so many things I want to say about that. Between me and Jamie, we will literally, you guys know what it is.
Yeah, but I think it's super constructive because you got to have these conversations. Honestly, these conversations are something I think a lot of people don't understand, that they're privy to, seeing, especially with this group. You know what I mean? I think we've had numerous times where we've been able to agree to disagree, or even swayed in a different direction of our belief once we have a conversation about it. So again, during times like these, like open up Pandora's box. I'm all for it.
We're just void fillers, though. We will talk forever. We will go on and on.
There's another aspect about my personality. I love to argue. It's just fun, right? Like, and sometimes I'll end up switching sides without even realizing, and force the other guy to switch sides too. And then like, they don't neither of us realize we've switched sides until I realized that I pointed out. I'm like, dude, now you're arguing my point from earlier, right? Like,
well, you turn over every stone. It's just fascinating. Curiosity just keeps building. I'm that way too. And so, yeah, like I said, we will literally dominate.
But there's this funny story where I like to argue. And so like I'm sitting, this is at Denver, and I'm like having this conversation with a group of 3 or 4 people, and I'm leaning up against kind of this trash can. And this guy's saying, dude, we need to have and it was along the lines of what you started this with. It was like, we need blockchain to try and help solve the issue of verifying what is truth or facts or reality or something in that theme, right? And so that sounded like a perfect theme for me to argue because I was bored. So I was like, why are you bothering? Truth is no longer a thing, right? And they go, well, yes, it is. And I'm like, he was smart. So he picked up as to where I was going, that you're able to manipulate like the masses, and it's easy with mass media or social media or whatever. We see this throughout history, right? And so like he thought that's where I was going, and he goes, yeah, I get that, but that thing you're leaning against is still a trash can, and that is the fact, and that's the truth, and there's, at the end of the day, it does matter. And I go, to you, that's a trash can. Give me 15 minutes. To that guy, it's going to be a shrine, and he's going to be praying to it. And to that guy, it's going to be a urinal, and he's going to take a piss on it, right? Like, at the same time, while you throw your garbage into this thing, right? And so like, and then I went further I got into Mexican politics, into an example whereby numbers were used as the subjective object of interpretation, such as the price of gas, right? And so, the president prior to this one said, when I'm a president, I'm never going to raise the price of gas. And then that, then a lot of things happened, and then the price went up, and I went up to the people that were fans of that president. I said, see that number on the gas station? It's higher than it was before. You see, like, your president lied to you, right? And then they turned to me and they said, you don't understand. You clearly don't understand economics. You see, that number is not adjusted for the price inflation of the euro, dollar, petrol. And they start spouting stuff they don't even understand. And I was like, is the number higher or is the number lower? Is the number of dollars or pesos that have to go out of your bank account more, the same, or less than previous? Because that's the fact. And to them, they were like, you just don't understand. And that's the point where I'd lost it. And so, anyways, as I loved this discussion with this guy, hours later, venues later, I happened to have ended up at a dinner where he was there too. And he was like 2 seats aside. And then somebody else brought this thing up about truth. And I was like, you know what? I've had this debate earlier today, not having it again. Like, I already enjoyed it or whatever. And the guy next to me, like 2 guys over, I didn't even see him. Like, he says something like, oh, you guys are talking about truth again? Yeah, truth doesn't matter. I was like, dude, you were on the other side. He goes, no, but you convinced me. And I was like, no, that wasn't the point. I wasn't trying to convince you. I was just trying to argue. Like, truth should matter. Like,
it's interesting because the conversation itself, that objectivity, having such a stable mind, or, well, let's just say fixating yourself on objectivity kind of robs you of potentiality, in my opinion. So your ability to fluctuate, even just for fun, you know what I mean? Hell, I'll just switch sides.
I didn't want to change his mind, and now I feel bad because this poor sucker thinks truth isn't the thing anymore.
You've ruined. Well, he was too paradigmed, and you shifted it.
Truth matters. Like, go to your blockchain thing, man. Like, yeah. So what's new with Shiba, Jason? Tell us, because I've been out for 2 weeks, inaccessible. I've not had to switch like social media means by which I can get access to because all my other ones keep leaking and I keep having to mute notifications. And so, like, I'm out of the loop.
Yeah, lots going on. I was just in the background there with Cloud Kitchen. Sorry, guys. Yes, lots happening. We've got a lot of interested parties, obviously, to open up sites globally. Just finalizing a bit of the structure there to get into those meetings. UK, USA is being finalized this week. Basically, as we speak, I'm just in the middle of that conversation right now. So that's for a Cloud Kitchens UK, Cloud Kitchens US, and then we've obviously got the 90 store Cloud Kitchens in Australia. So that's pretty massive for us as a brand to be able to get these deals across very quickly with the interested parties there. We've also talking with State to get involved with us because it just makes sense, right, with their alignment and their rollout with their delivery platform. So I'm putting a few things together there for John. And then we have a few other things that will drop in the coming weeks as well in terms of what we're doing for the corporate head office. Melbourne's been finished and finalised. So that's going in for the council approvals to be set up. And then once that comes back in, we can start knocking into that site and start getting that site ready to roll.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. For those of you guys that are like in the crypto side, I'll translate. Number go up.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that's why we're all excited. I mean, the more and more we solidify on the
they're like, why aren't you shilling? It's like, dude, because we're making restaurants so that you can buy more coins and burn them. So yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, it sounds like I have quite a bit of catching up to do on that side of the things.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, lots going on. We're trying to slow it down. There's more and more. We had a big meeting last night on another site with a new brand, another brand that Shiba Wings is bringing under its ecosystem. So pretty exciting there. We won't release it yet, but it's going to go out to the community, where the community can actually decide what this brand will be called. So it's going to be pretty exciting, and we'll share that in the coming days after we catch up, Jamie.
Is it Hooters?
Not Hooters. That'll be
Wingstop.
Not Wingstop.
It's just a little elimination. I'm gonna keep going.
It's a pizza brand.
Oh God! Now you've left me down with 5. Domino's, Pizza Hut. What's the other ones like?
Papa John's, Papa Murphy's. Sparrow.
Yeah.
Keep
Come on,
guessing.
let's get his poker face, Reed. We got actually never play poker with Jason. Jason doesn't flinch.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it too, to be honest. But yeah, that'll be.
We got to play now. We definitely got to play now.
No, but it's got to be done in person, because if you do the online, then you're just doing math. Like if it's, you got to be able to read it, right? Like you gotta bluff them, you gotta push it, and then you gotta put them under some pressure. I'll bet I can get a tell on you when you've got the nuts. Like that one, I'm pretty sure that you can't hold back.
Let's line it up, guys. This round table at a poker soon. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll stream it. We'll just have one of these conversations, and we'll be taking each other's money.
That's it. Stream it, we'll eat wings, and play some poker.
There has to be a way where we can like do it like in the World Series, where the audience can see what we have, but we can't see what we have, right? So then like make it interesting for everyone to watch. Yeah. No.
You know, I want to go back to what you guys were talking about before, because Shiba Wings is really breaking a lot of boundaries, I think, in ways that people don't, truly understand. Back to your moniker, the RWB, I really love that because, realistically, we are a real world business, but that business is also an asset, and it's an income producing asset. And now when you've got, the laws changing, I mean, to me, the crypto markets, everybody calls it cryptocurrency, but to me, it's been crypto assets since 2014 because that's how it's been taxed. To me, cryptocurrency is a bit of a misnomer, but we're moving into a legislative landscape where we may actually be able to use crypto for what it was intended, what its original intent was, and that is for actual currency. Solana, you've got 400 millisecond transactions. You've got, 0.0025 average, transaction fee cost. So it's super cheap, it's super fast, and it really allows you to transact globally. Now you've got a currency with Wing token, which is backed essentially by Solana and the Solana network through Wing Swap, right? To make accessibility easy for, tons and tons and tons of people. But you have a currency that's now backed by a globally expanding business. We keep going back to McDonald's or whatever. Imagine if McDonald's was taking 5% of their net profit from every location, including franchisees' location, including marketing deals, including everything else that they've got going on. And they were pushing back into buying and burning a token. It would be absolutely massive. And this is the place that we're, headed to. Instead of following McDonald's, path right off the bat and investing in, speculative real estate deals, buying land and hoping that the value goes up over time, strategically buying land and hoping the value goes up over time. Now we have people that are buying into the token itself to secure partnerships for franchisees, for things like that. And then as we roll out all of these locations, all of these franchisees locations, our partner businesses and everything else that we have coming through WingSwap, we're literally just expanding this more and more and more. And ultimately, we have the ability to have a currency that is actually backed by assets, which is where currencies should be. It's unable to be inflated into absolutely nothing. And it's backed not only by an asset, but by an income producing business that's spreading globally.
Here's where
I want my money,
Here's where I think that like there's a disconnect, and why I don't like definitely don't like the word project, but like the word utility, as it should be correctly used in this case. The proper time to use the word utility would be here, but because that word has now been hijacked and contaminated, and then that's why I don't like to use it to avoid any kind of like just to disambiguate what people might interpret that as, right? But the one thing is, because the word utility has been used in the past however many cycles in whatever crypto projects that existed, whether they be NFTs or coins or whatever, like DAOs and dApps and blah blah blah, like you'd have everything crypto based, where they say, and this is back when they had roadmaps and white papers and shit, right? And I think that I'm very educated guess here. There's probably a lot of these crypto self-contained ecosystem projects that were being launched, which are any of the above, DAOs, DApps, coins, NFTs, whatever, where part of the plan was to buy and burn tokens. And so I think that concept has been used a lot. Has been articulated a lot. It just never works out because it's a self-contained project that relies on the project for people to get excited in order for the thing to then work, in order for the other thing to, like, the circular logic where
it's relying on their fractured ecosystem, their community that they have. And
exactly. Like, in theory, it might have worked, that they might have been well intended, but it was like Terra Luna, where where the UST relied on Luna having a non-zero value in order for the math to work out. Like, that concept was pretty cool, actually, right? Except for the fact that the very, very fatal flaw that it relied on Luna having a non-zero value. So long as that non-zero value, they can mint infinite of those coins, enough to buy, and stabilize the UST. For those that don't know what that's about, just Google algorithmic stable coin. It's an oxymoron. It's something that was proved as such. But like, the intention, I'm not going to go after. I don't think that the Do Kwon or whatever, I think the intention was actually positive. Like, it was a good intention, but like you just pointed out, it relied on community. It was a completely self-contained ecosystem where it relied on the community and people getting tattooed Luna on their thing in order for that Luna coin to not have a non-zero value. Therefore, the whole thing works, right? In this particular case, when we say we're going to buy and burn, there are stores in operation and stores that are continuing to expand, opening to, like, at a site near you, where it's actually happening. And so, like, there's so I think there might, I don't know if maybe there's exhaustion towards the concept, or lack of belief, or lack of understanding. It could be all of the above, where that vision is the one that the people just don't understand. Like, it's a meme restaurant, and it's easy to screw up, because to give the credit to the people that want the number to go up, this fucking thing is called Shiba Wings. All right. And the logo is a Shiba dog. So anyone that judges the book by its cover has the right to say, I thought this was a meme project. And I'll give them that much, because it turns out there's actually a business that is a meme business. It flips the script. You have a fully memeified restaurant, very recognizable, and as a line item expense, it has a token, because you can't have a restaurant called Shiba Wings if you don't have a token that goes along with it that can do all the promo on your behalf. But that's the part that people miss, is like, when we say, yeah, we're going to buy and burn, why doesn't that resonate? It's probably because they've heard that a lot, and they've heard it a lot in failed projects that relied on people just kind of like patting each other's back and cheerleading each other and getting shills and getting KOLs to tweet about it, and doing, like, basically pumping up the chart in order for this possibly well-intended projects to work. But this business has been in operation, continues to be in operation, and will continue to be in operation, like, with or without the coin. But the coin is there to give the opportunity for people to get in on an investment where otherwise they might have to get. Somebody can tell me what the qualified investor requirements. I believe it's either you make 250 grand a year, or you have 2 million in assets. It's if it's not, I think
it's 1 million in provable assets, or 200 grand a year over the last 3 years.
I think that's outdated. I think that was, I think it's higher now, because I recently did a thing. But, like, regardless, let's just go with that one, right? You have to be rich in order to, like, to be able to get into something early. And this is a very, really good example where you can actually,
not only something early, but anything that earns passive income.
Yeah.
Like, any real thing that earns passive income. That's what the SEC laws, the security compliance laws, are really all about. Unless you're rich, you cannot invest in a project that you earn income based off the back of the efforts of others. That's what it breaks down into. And that's what pisses me off so much about it.
And the irony right now is the number of rich people that want to get into this coin right now because they do understand it, right? Because they're business people. They're like, so let me get this straight. You got a business and it works and it's profitable and it's growing. And you own the IP. And then you've got all these ones under control. And then you got this coin that's going to get 5%, like that does get 5% buy and burn from the restaurant profits. And they go, dude, what's the CA? And I'll give them the CA and they'll look at it and be like, dude, your fucking market cap is like $1 million. Can't get in on this shit. And I'm like, yeah, it's for poor people right now. You have to wait in line until it's expensive. All right. Like quite literally, it's the exact opposite. So these guys, because they're like, understand that they understand that they have to wait for the price to go up before they can come in with their big money, or else they'll just get killed in slippage and then they lose. Right. So like they're okay with waiting. Like they're okay at buying higher and selling even higher because they mechanically can't buy low. And this is probably one of the only examples that I can ever come up with where the only people that can buy low are the little guys. And it's to me, it's so exciting that this is like a great narrative. And I say this all the time, except for it's either the message doesn't get out properly or the message does get out, but they don't understand it, or we don't get it to the right audience, because this thing quite literally is like, the risk for this thing, the risk for the coin not going up, like relies on the chicken wings tasting like shit. Right. And so Jason's going to have to he went away, dude. I just said the only way that coin goes down.
Yeah, sorry, my son.
You literally turned your camera off, man. Let me check the chart right, because I think that just not how you do it. No, I'm like literally. It's not even about the taste of the chicken, right? The restaurant's expanding at this point. Like it's a good thing. Like I saw pictures. Like they sell alcohol, even if you don't like the chicken. You get drunk, and once you get drunk, you have to buy chicken, because that's what drunk people do. They buy chicken, and so
tell the little guys to lock in, Jamie. That's literally like what we need to do.
Little guys, please do it for your own good. I really don't care about the price. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the price of these. Like I'm in it for like the long term. This is not Wall Street Bets that is branding this thing. This is Jamie Rogozinski realizing there's like a risk-free investment opportunity here, and this is me taking advantage of it. This is my traditional. What the hell is going on with Jason's like wigging out over there? All right, you can put your camera back off, man. I don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, sorry, bro. Give me one sec, my son.
Dude, you need
what
like
happens
a
when you just his chicken.
It's like
just gotta set up. Yeah, sorry, I'm moving around.
It's him dodging the bears. It's him dodging the bears, guys.
I'm dodging the wings, man. I'm dodging the wings.
No, this isn't the Wall Street Bets thing. This is a Jamie that's like a business person realizing, wow, this is a great opportunity, and I get to hit two birds with one stone, make money because this is such a great idea, and number two, I get to promote a business that is using crypto or blockchain technology. I don't use the word cryptocurrency, by the way, Sassy. I use the word crypto because by using cryptocurrency, I've now reduced the possible types of interpretations. But this is a use of crypto and blockchain for a mutually a beneficial symbiotic relationship between the blockchain ecosystem and the real world businesses, where they can benefit from each other in a very positive way that doesn't rely on just pumping stuff, right? And I think that I want to be a part of that, because I want to inspire other people to do something like this or better or different or put their own twist on it, because that stimulates it, right? How many jobs is Jason going to end up giving because all these restaurants open, right? That's what I care about. And if I'm able to say that crypto is playing a role in giving those people jobs, I'm happy. And crypto is it's not the price of the coin that's giving their jobs, right? Once again, the price of the coin is an expense. It's the people that are like shilling coin and getting exciting and getting like brand recognition. It is the expansion of the restaurants, all these different things, right? And because of this regulatory risk component that is clearly no longer what it was, the previous administration, and if things continue going the way they continue to be going, they will set a new precedent that they can't take back anymore. And quite literally, this can be a very disruptive. The technology's been disruptive, but we haven't seen the disruptive implementation, except for El Salvador. El Salvador is the one example where you can empirically point out to crypto having been a disruptive element in that, because if you went to El Salvador a few years ago, you die. And now you can walk down the street with your Rolex and with your Louis Vuitton and your Prada, and you can be happy, and nothing's going to happen to you. The reason why nothing's going to happen to you if you go to El Salvador is because the government was able to defeat all the criminals. The reason why they couldn't previously defeat all the criminals is because the criminals could outspend the government. The government then bought Bitcoin and relied on that as their currency, and they got richer than the criminals. They got bigger guns, and they put the criminals in jail. It was a very simple equation there. And so now El Salvador is the shining disruptive example. Outside of that, there's not a ton that I can point out to other than like potential, like places that are palpably changing people's lives. It's made a lot of people rich. It's made a lot of things. It's like a lot of innovations. It's teeing up for a lot of really good stuff. But I do believe that this year is going to be extremely. This is going to be the pivot year where crypto makes its mark, and it's not going to be the prices, right? We got the 100K now, right? So be happy for those that cared about that. But the crypto, the blockchain, the implementation, the mutually symbiotic, the relationship, right? We already got 24-hour trading out of NASDAQ. I've been imploring for that for like decades, and not because I want to gamble at 3 a.m, because not having 24-hour a day markets is a systemic risk to the global financial system. If an atomic bomb lands somewhere on a Saturday, on Monday morning, all these big hedge funds with lots of money, lots and lots and lots of money, that have really smart finance people that all they do is like math, and they have very, very tight risk management rules. They say, if this price reaches this point, we're going to cut our losses at 2%. Otherwise, we then have to collateralize by doing other stuff. If Monday morning comes around and the prices gap 20% below their stop, they're fucked. And then you get another 2007. So you need to have 24-hour day markets just so that you can adapt to the 24-hour news cycle, so that you're able to have markets adjust real time. But for those of you that don't know what a gap is, when the markets close at 4 p.m., the prices stop moving. If things happen, right, let's say that Steve Jobs was still around and Apple closes at 4 o'clock and he dies at 5 o'clock, tomorrow morning, Apple's prices is going to open up 20% underneath whatever the hell you owned it at the previous day, and your stop loss will not have triggered where you wanted it to. And that's a problem. And so if 24-hour market means that you have real-time adjustments, that's very like palpable benefit that crypto is now telling Wall Street what to do. Banks now are allowed to use, FDIC is getting involved, like the legitimacy of being able to, to operate crypto businesses with like banks or whatever, or crypto dollars into your bank, is yet another example whereby businesses can now entirely operate on crypto. They have their bank account, they can deposit crypto, they can withdraw crypto, and they never have to worry about the actual dollar itself. That's huge, especially for me that have inadvertently put all my money into crypto, not because I'm investing in it. I have like the stable USD things, and I do have some that are in like the you know, I am buying the dip on the other stuff, but like it's just easier for me to keep my money in crypto. So the fact that banks now allow crypto is even easier. Pay rent with it, you can pay mortgage with it. Like, yeah. So it's a good year.
I think we're rugging a bit here.
I'm moving around to see if like my screen moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was cutting it out for a second too.
Yeah, it keeps chopping. We're still live on Twitter.
Sounds like a personal problem.
You guys are all clear to me.
I was rolling without any problem. My voice, you know, if you can stand outside my hall, everyone can hear me just fine. That's it. No reaction. I can keep going forever.
Yeah.
I can go look this hat I bought this. Like I usually don't buy stuff at the airport, like, but I had to like go. Like a USA, like can't really quite tell, but this is where the stars are. And this is where the lions are. I'm very excited about it.
I think that silence is indicative.
It probably means, dude, you're fucking boring and you lost us like 20 minutes ago.
Not at all. I honestly think that if people are not taking down notes with a pen instead of a pencil at this point on a lot of the conversations that we've had, they're seriously missing out on such valuable information, whether it's something they agree with or not. Like these are conversations that are gold to me, because when you have level-headed people that can have conversations about markets and emotions and business and projects and protocols, right? And also, you know, dare to challenge the toxic positivity that this space has breeded within the last, I would even say 8 to 10 years, maybe even longer than that, right? You are sorely missing out on the messaging, you know, that's being relayed here. And all I can say on from my opinion is I agree with all of you, whether or not I agree or disagree, because all of it encompasses the journey of how and you know when and where all of this emerged. And we are on the precipice, like you said, Jay. We're on the precipice. I think people misinterpret that word as well. They think that, you know, we're staring out over a cliff out into the ocean. And I think precipice can have so many other meanings, right? Other than being on the edge of a cliff. I think the precipice for me, and the way I look at it is a lot to look forward to. There's more ground to be had. It's not like just drop down and then you end up in an ocean, right? Like there's so much ground that has been covered and has yet to be covered, but the pathways that we have been opened up. And seeing as how the world is now getting involved on a more tabloid level is letting me know that those doors have been decided and those pathways have been decided for some time now. We're just now getting to see that more in mainstream media. So like you said about the news, about the summit, for example, right? That news was already baked in months ago, right? Before the summit was even announced. Right. So people have to start really looking at this from a macro view and stop with the telescope shit. Right. Stop waiting for news to be dropped in order to be quote unquote bullish on the technology and advancement that, you know, crypto breeds and lays out available. So we're ahead of the curve. And I bring that back to what even Ransom said about being early. Being early doesn't mean easy. It doesn't mean being easy. Being early requires a lot of self-discipline. It requires a lot of research. It requires you also to be able to pivot. Pivot is a word that I don't think a lot of people pay close attention to in this space, but you got to be a master pivoter with whatever industry that you're in, because nobody knows exactly what's going on unless you're the person pulling the strings, right? So instead of trying to time, you know, everything, it's just remain timeless. You know, remain convicted on what your beliefs are, especially within these markets, right? If you're bullish on crypto, then be bullish on crypto. The swings and everything else that happen in between that's just all part of the story, man. It's all a part of a script, and it's one that you didn't write. It's one that you have the availability and if anything, right? I'm looking for the word. you get to be a part of it, man. And you got to look at that and look at appreciation, right? Because you could be sidelined with no dry powder at all, and not be able to get involved at all. So I think we're really just striking some of the surface level of what's to come. So I appreciate the conversations, whether I agree with it or not. It's
what you said about pivoting is so crucial there too, because as this industry kind of forms itself, it's still evolving. It's changing so quickly. It's like, you know, you're a leaf in a very violent windstorm in an emergent industry like this that can change. Those who are going to make it in the long term, even some of the smaller players in this, so long as they are adaptable and able to pivot, just like you said, they will. This is an emergent industry that's not going anywhere but up. They are going to be here for the long haul, and they are going to be major players there are going to be major players in this industry who are very, very small fish right now, but they have that adaptability and they are able to pivot when the wind shifts. And that's very crucial. I love that you brought that up.
But like, I don't understand how people aren't cheering in the streets right now. Like, we just hit 100K on Bitcoin, and everybody was like, oh man, now it's too late to buy Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin surges back down to the 78, 80 range. And why you're not like, holy shit, I didn't even buy all the Bitcoin I can get my hands on right now. Instead of like complaining about the price volatility, which is really what creates a lot of the opportunities that are here to make money. So it's like, to me, it's like the things that people are complaining about are literally the things that can bring benefit if done right, if navigated correctly. And we all know the markets are cyclical. Like, it's going back up. And especially, I mean, I'm not even talking about looking at the news, the current news cycle. Just looking at the current, the market cycle, at the history of Bitcoin, you know, back to 2008, looking at how cyclical it is, looking at the timing of the cycles, looking at how those were timed compared to the halvenings. And like, just looking at that, the math is right there to see that clearly Bitcoin's going to go up. Now you throw in the fact that you've got 23 states moving towards a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I heard Texas was the first to pass in the Senate, I believe. And so now you've got the executive order that Trump just signed for a federal strategic Bitcoin reserve. You get the crypto summit that just happened, which, like you said, was actually, to me, really bullish. Everybody's like, oh, nothing much happened. But nothing much was going to happen until you see the legislature that's going to come out of committee. And right now, these are the pre-legislature talks, because nobody really knows quite exactly what to do. It's just it's an idea. And so now they're formulating.
I can tell you firsthand what happened because it's known the discussions were, how do we buy Bitcoin responsibly?
How do we do this? How the fuck do we do this? Okay.
You have to realize, if the government says we want to have a Bitcoin reserve, use your head. Do you really think they're going to have some intern download MetaMask on his fucking phone?
Yeah, negatory. I honestly,
I mean, you gotta think it through.
Not only that, but if you look at Senator Lummis's bill, she wants the government to sell a ton of the gold that they've been holding on to that's valued dramatically lower than current market price, and turn that into buying Bitcoin. Imagine what kind of process that's going to be, how long that's going to take. It was never going to happen overnight.
No, it can't happen over. Like, first of all, anything in government is already slow as it is. But even if it's even corporate treasuries that are like, you know, like private companies that are trying to add this to their treasury, they too have to solve this issue. They're like, okay, so let me get this straight. Like, a bank account, it's the bank's. If the bank gets robbed, I'm insured up to $250 or whatever. I don't know what it's up to nowadays, right? Like, or if this thing or whatever, like who has access to the account, like who has the keys to this thing? Crypto, for anyone that knows, like, you own your keys, you own that thing. Whoever owns those keys has access to those things. And so they have to actually, whether you're the government, which is slower than companies, or a company, which is faster, you still need to come up with a method that is safe, that can withstand your CTO like dying and still being able to access that Bitcoin without like an intern being able to steal it. Like,
it's not like you said, it's not an intern on MetaMask buying $4 trillion worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah, so what was discussed, and what was discussed was even more bullish, because had the discussion been, hey, what wallet do we use to buy it or whatever, or what's a good multi-sig mechanism, well, like a redundant way to, if they were talking about like where to store it, that itself would have been an irresponsible conversation, because the correct conversation would have been, hey, how do we do this without breaking crypto? Because we're going to do a lot of this. And like, that just, to me, the most bullish thing in the universe. That means that they're taking it so seriously that they stopped any celebrity, any donor, any like big name, whatever, anybody with contacts. Like nobody was allowed into this thing. And
Just like we're doing here.
I can't stress the number of people that were left out of this summit. That were at this, like, dude, at this like Brock's event. There were so many famous people that are high profile people that I was with. One, he was like an investor into this thing or whatever, and he's Asian. And he looks a little bit like Jackie Chan. And at one point, like, I don't know who started it, but like either somebody as a joke started or he himself started telling people that he was Jackie Chan. And it was super believable, right? Because of like, because of who else was there at this thing. And it was just this really funny thing that like, but that's
plot twist. It actually was Jackie Chan.
I knew I'd met him the night before, so unfortunately not. But like the funny thing is, he got away with it because of the types of people that were already in that room. Nobody questioned it. None of those people in the room got into that like crypto summit, and the fact they didn't get in. And after I got the explanation from my guy that spoke with Michael Saylor, and explained to me what the conversation was like, dude, that is so awesome. The government is not only did the right thing, right? Because guess what? Had they let me in, that would have been bad for crypto. I would have just wasted a good seat, because I would have just taken a fucking selfie and bragged about it, right? Like, I have nothing smart to say about buying trillions of dollars in Bitcoin. I don't even know how, like, I have to buy wrapped Bitcoin because I do use MetaMask, and MetaMask doesn't do normal Bitcoin. I don't actually own the real kind of Bitcoin, right? Like, which real maxis would kill me for, but whatever. Like, so I would have really honestly been, wasting the government's time, which at first I thought I wasn't going to waste their time, because I was like, whoever gets anything done at these things, all they do is take selfies. That's the point, right? And it turns out it wasn't. The point was to actually do things right, and they're like intelligently. And so I was like so happy by that. I was like relieved that it was like there's a certain level of, intelligence behind this bureaucracy.
When I hear strategy, that gets me excited. I'm not really hyper focused at this point in my journey within crypto to hear buzzwords. I like the word strategy because it means sustainability. It means there's thought process in that. And what you were saying, Rack, I'd like to delve a little bit in that, because a lot of people, when they see a number go up and then it hits a certain milestone, they're so fixated on that number at the all-time high. And I relate that to personal best, right? When someone's working out, let's just for instance, I used to power lift, right? When someone would be in their routine and they're getting ready for a competition, they'd be so focused on hitting a certain number, right? Their personal best. And in the gym is different from on the platform, right? You're always going to be a little bit stronger in the gym rather than on the platform. You're training for the platform to be at your best and to hit numbers that you can securely hit, right? But the problem is when you hit a personal best in the gym, you're so hyper fixated on that you're trying to hit the next number up. If you're not a seasoned veteran within the gym, you're always going to be chasing, right, the higher number. Oh, I just hit a 400-pound bench. Now I got to hit 500, right? And they don't focus on the work that goes into maintaining that 400-pound level that they just hit. They'd rather go to that next level without securing that previous level that they just hit. And that's how you get injured. So if we relate that to crypto and the industry, right? People are so fixated on all-time highs that they're not willing to work on sustaining, right, the ranges that come with those all-time highs. So if you had a all-time high Bitcoin, right, you're going to range a little bit under that, to secure those levels. And that's just the way I see it. I don't know if it's for any different for you guys, but the whole space, and I won't say the whole industry, it's just what we see on social media, right? And let's be fair and be honest. People here on X and on Twitter that are quote unquote KOLs, they don't represent the biggest of all money, that's in crypto, because big whales and people that have big money are excited at this time because they know that those ranges that we've hit personal bests on are actually being secured right now in this moment. We haven't had violent swings. These aren't violent swings that we've had in the past few weeks, even few months. These are like
I
what,
have
30,
a, I have a question. Like for I wish I could have asked the audience, like the ones that are like doing this numbers thing. What would you do if the number was 110? Like, where are you today? And what would you do if the number was 110?
They probably
do you own the first question is, do you own it? The second question is, do you plan on owning it now that it's like, I don't know what it's at today, like 80, 90, whatever. All right. Like, and you don't plan on owning it, then why the fuck are you talking? If you do plan on owning it, or you do own it, what are you going to do when it reaches 110? Are you going to sell it? The answer could be yes. Right. And it's a perfectly allowable answer because they need to buy a thing or the car, or they cashed out because they bought it at 50 and that's their, okay. So that's just the market and that's how it works. But like, if you're actually waiting to like get like super rich from this thing, then you're not going to do anything at 110 or 150 or 200 or 250. Because at most you've tripled or quadrupled your investment. That's still not fuck you money. Still can't buy a Lambo with Forex. All right. So what's the, I mean, so you're either investing because that's what the investing looks like. You're making more, like your net worth goes up over time, and that's a good thing, right? Like what's the number? What does that number represent? What is it? Is it a goal? Or are you trying to get to that number and then get the fuck out? Because I know a lot of people clearly had 100 in sight, and that's why it's so difficult to get out of the 100, right? Everyone said, when I get to 100, that's when I'm going to leave. And so a lot of people are doing that. I'm like, all right, cool. That's your right. You probably got it earlier. Now you get the cash out, right? Like you deserve that, and it's a free market. So that's giving people a buying opportunity who want to buy high and sell higher at some point later on in life. Like, what?
Interesting question. I honestly
target for the stock market.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I think people would majority would sell if it reached all-time high 110. If it went to 110 today, a majority of people will sell because it is a psychological thing. You know,
but then it goes to 120.
Exactly, and that's where they get left out. That's what people don't understand.
And then 130. And what, like the thing about here, anyone can take, because today we happen to not be at an all-time high. Take the stock market, go Google Finance, pull up Dow Jones, do a history chart, do an all-time thing, and tell me what you see. You see bottom left, top right, like the number go up. It's been at an all-time forever, and it will always be at an all-time because that's how it was designed. What about the Great Depression? I dare you to spot it without looking at the date on the bottom, because you won't be able to spot the Great Depression on the stock market unless you look at 1929 or whatever the hell it was, right? Like, you won't be able to, you might be able to spot the 2008, like 2008, because you know you're close to it, right? So you're going to look for the closest dip, right? Like, but people don't even remember this. The stock market fell 50% during COVID. All right. Like that's yesterday's business. But during COVID, the market fell 50%. Nobody remembers that one. Right. But guess what? It doesn't matter because numbers designed to go up forever. So get used to the all-time high things, people, because like if you're going to sell at an all-time high, then you're playing the wrong game.
Perfectly put. And that
something else people don't get, the wealth is constantly being generated. There is always more wealth. Wealth is not limited. Wealth is being generated constantly and actually exponentially. More and more wealth, more and more value is coming into what we might call the markets. There's more liquidity constantly. So number has to go up. People
keep fucking.
Exactly.
I swear to God. I mean, yes, the answer is yes. Because you have more kids than like the adults, right? Like the family average is more children than the parents. That is more number of people that need to like make widgets, right? And then make money and buy bananas to feed like their kids and buy their car. And then they have more kids and then they need to get widgets, right? And need to go to work for that thing. And so like, yes, of course, there's more and more production, right? And that production like is for another word of value. That's also why inflation happens for the most part. That's why also Japan did not have very much inflation, because they stopped fucking, right? Like there's a direct correlation between the size of the amount of like wealth and stuff and, you know, GDP that goes up and the amount of sex that takes place. And so like, so long as we can rely on sex, number go up. Like that's it.
That's awesome. No, and it honestly it challenges the whole, because I've heard the whole linear progression thing, right? And it's true to a sense. If you macro view, right, the Bitcoin chart, for example, and you look at the all-time, you know, lows, every time a low has been sustained, and you connect those peak points, right? It's a line. It's a freaking line up, and you can't deny that. And that has to do with fucking math. It has to do with demand. It has to do with interest. It has to do with everything about why people wanted to get in this industry, who didn't understand it at first and started wrapping their head around it. And obviously, it's going to come in the mass, you know, soon. But it all is an uptrend. It has been an uptrend.
There's another thing too. Like there's also there's been the component of the accessibility for people. Like it's you know, like for early adopters it was impossible. I was talking to a guy that was really funny. He said he's like a super old school Bitcoin guy, and he literally used to do OTC transactions. OTC, for those of you who don't know, stands for over the counter. Now usually OTC doesn't actually mean you go to a counter and you put things on the counter and you trade it. It usually refers things that aren't trading on an open market. So you basically do, you know, a one-to-one, you know, like you call the guy up and you say, I'll sell it to you, and then you give me the money. That's what it usually means. But in this Bitcoin guy's like example, he actually did OTC trades for crypto. He had cash, and he would take a lot of cash and he would trade it for Bitcoin, right, for people. And they have to do it in person, right? They have to actually say like, okay, well, here's my briefcase of cash, here's my wallet, like, you know, and I'm holding, like, as soon as I see the hash comes through, then okay, then it's yours, right? Like, and they would, and this is really funny, he would do it. Bitcoin wasn't legal then, but like there was nothing illegal about going to the bank to do transactions. So they would actually go into a bank, into the waiting area, and they would do these transactions there, because taking $10,000, $15,000, it's a risky thing. And so you say, if you go to a bank to do these OTC transactions, if you get robbed, it's technically a bank robbery, right? And so like, then you get all the bank robbery like benefits for security, like regardless of what the hell was going on. So like, that's how much he was thinking it through. And anyways, like we've gone, so that was how you had to do it back then. Then you had to do things that were complicated, and downloading things and programming and understanding concepts and compatibility and being frustrated with stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, like I just said, to this day, I don't actually own the real type of Bitcoin. I have Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm exposed to Bitcoin via derivatives, but I don't do the real Bitcoin because I don't have an actual Bitcoin wallet that's like compliant with the super maxi decentralized people. But it's been a tricky thing. And for somebody that says, I want to buy, you know, the Trump coin because it's going up, how do I do it? Here, I have Bitcoin. Like that's a problem for them. And there's a lot of clicks that you have to do, right? And you have to kind of know what you're doing, and you need to understand the concepts behind them. You need to have been prepared in order to get the Trump coin. If you're asking, how do I buy the Trump coin? You're way too late. You're way too late, because by the time you get to it, and we're getting closer to the point where you now have the UI experience more friendly, right? Which is, you know, through these brokerages, even if they're centralized, and you miss out on the spirit of the decentralized technology. Like, it's still accessible to people that don't give a shit, right? They just wanted to buy the Bitcoin. And then the cross. To me, one of the problems in crypto is it's been very, you know, factionalized. It's like, it's lots of little things. You have like a meme GameStop coin on ETH, and a meme GameStop on Solana and on Base and on Sui, and they fight each other, right? And they should not be able to. They should be able to not fight each other. Instead of having 15 little Telegram rooms with 5,000 people, they should have, you know, one Telegram room with 75,000 people, and most likely it would be up to like 100 or 120, because once you get a group that's big enough, then you get to like enjoy these compound returns, right? Just like the number of followers that I get every day on Twitter, just because I already have a lot of followers. It's just, like, so, we're also getting really close to addressing these technological imposed, like teams that are tribalistic, where it's like, okay, you want to innovate? Cool. You need to pick a sports team first. Right? Like if I want to build like a helmet for football players so they don't get concussions, it's like they're like, dude, I created this great technology. It absorbs everything and it's like dynamic and great technology. They're like, okay, cool. Which team are you going to sell it to? I was like, to the humans that play the game so that they survive. They're like, no, you got to pick a team first. Like, no, I don't want to pick a team. I want all of the football players to survive. Right? Like it should be agnostic. So like innovators should be able to come to the blockchain and just say, I want to use like, the liquidity that Ethereum has, but the speed that Binance has, but because I don't want to leave the US out of it, I want to use like Sui's ability to, but the thing and the gasless one from over there. And they should be able to just, the innovators should be able to pick and choose and actually integrate these things together. And to the users of these things, they should not need to care what any of that means. They should be able to buy the Trump coin with Bitcoin. And we're a stone throws away from that happening too. So, once you have that, you'll have innovators, you'll have easier time adopting new users, which will then stimulate like the innovation in itself. People say, well, I don't care about the coins, but I do care about, I don't know, something stupid. Transferring money internationally, right? Like remittances, right? Like that's a very simple one everyone can relate to. Most people that rely on those have figured out really quickly how to use MetaMask, right? But other ones that don't rely on it and would just like to be able to do it, they haven't downloaded MetaMask yet. And so like they will be able to do that without knowing that they're doing crypto.
Absolutely fascinating points. I mean, I agree on all fronts. I mean, again, that's how early we are, right? we get to dictate which teams we want to sell the technology to. But the great thing I think people need to honestly really, if you wanted to hyper focus on opportunity, right? For folks that have been in this industry or maybe even part time, not full time, even, they are the liaisons of the technology. And if you look at opportunity that way, right? There's a whole business side of things that you can apply yourself within this industry of knowing this technology, or even knowing how the patterns are with emotions in this space, to utilize it for your own personal benefit, hopefully not in a bad way, but that the hopes on that are very, very high. But that being, if you're opportunistic, then you'll see that not only are you early on the technology and investing in it, you're also early on educating others on it, or teaching them at the very least to massively consume it. So we're right here. We're right here, guys. There's no better time to be a part of this industry than now. And what better project than to be in? And not project. Let me scoop myself back, because I will get shot in the head for that.
Glad
I know. You had me one scoped right now. I seen that, or the no scope. You didn't even have to look through the lens on that one. But business, right? And it's just a beautiful time to be up in this. I'm like you said, Jamie, I'm totally tired of people asking me why the number's not going up. And it's not just within meme coins. It's quite
like, I don't even, like people that ask me that like regret it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why do you care?
Exactly.
During a time like why do you care about the numbers? Tell me.
Exactly. So
because I want to get rich. Well, you're doing it wrong. Pick the wrong thing. Go get a job.
Exactly.
Or go buy a lottery ticket if you want to do it quickly. Good luck with that one too. Yeah. Have fun with meme coins. Sometimes you can get money doing that.
And I think hand in hand it goes with who's been advertising their quote unquote their wins, right? Because only people see the highlight reel when they're on social media, right? Or more specifically within our industry, Twitter or X, if you want to call it, because you have quote unquote these KOLs that have gotten lucky you know, on certain trades that they've made, right? Or maybe they had an insider tip on something and they got a certain amount of supply and they're able to ride that wave up and then
No, save that one for the next time. Next time we have this conversation, I'm going to teach everybody here how to fake being a master guru trader.
There you go.
I'm very good at showing you how to do that. I can. It is very simple. Anybody can post. Anybody can be a virtual guru, without even having to do that much work. It is even dumber than that.
Hey guys, is it possible on the back of Jamie's, if you want to get rich, go buy a lottery ticket? Is it possible for me to segue?
Yeah. No, you're going to get a kick out of this.
So with the Sassy partnership, we have this massive social media reach. The reason we do, we're putting out some pretty good content. So let's tee that up. How do lottery tickets work? Do they make us rich? Let's find out, guys.
Jamie, you're going to get a kick out of this one. This is so good. Let's see. Yeah, there it goes.
Oh, a mandarin. 2 mandarins. Oh, 3 mandarins. Oh, yeah. Please. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, first thing I'm going to do with this money is feed all the cold, hungry orphans and just leave enough for myself for tonight's supper. Oh, yes. Oh, no, come back. That money's for the orphans.
That's hilarious.
That's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. What do you think about that, Jamie?
I love it.
Oh, shit.
No, it's so good. Well, it was a pleasure meeting today. Honestly, we had a really pretty good turnout considering everybody's, most of everybody on socials are holding their breath. But you know what? We don't look at the market cap here. We know what we're building here. And it's just been an awesome conversation. I can't wait to hear the continuation of this leading into the KOL description and everything else and how to fake it till you make it ordeal, Jamie. I can't wait till we cover that. But the folks here, the folks here are going to have to remain hungry on that one.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just tease it out there for last time. Hold on a second. But here, hold on. Let me tell you how to do step 1, though. I can't show you how to do that. You start off with stacks of $100 bills that are perfectly fucking like this. This is step 1 to be a KOL that is rich.
There you go. There you go. Bombs dropped over. Oh yeah, bombs dropped.
Step 2 coming soon, guys. Stay tuned.
Well, pleasure here. Everybody here is beyond excited, and thank you guys so much for taking times out of your guys' day to join us. And shouts out to the community. If you're still here with us, there's lots of rewards to reap. So stay bullish on Shibawing, not because it's a meme coin, not because it's a crypto project, because it's far from that. It is a business, guys. It is a business, and it's building. We're building, baby. We're expanding. So the best is yet to come. You cook it.
Actually cook.
Let's do it. All right, guys. I'm heading out. I'll see you guys in TG. See you guys on X. I'll see where all the waves are rising because we're riding the wave, baby.
Yep. On that note, let's wrap this up. Thank you so much to everybody who came out here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and now good night. For everybody who's joined us around the world, we thank you so much for listening to all our banter back and forth, all of our BS. If you're on Twitter, feel free to swing on down to that purple comment button. Leave us a like, a GM, a retweet if you're feeling generous. Throw us a bookmark because you know how that benefits the algorithm. Make sure that you jump into our Telegram and follow us for all things Wing, because that is where we drop all of our new, fresh, hot, spicy, and extra golden crispy information straight to the community. And we will see you guys on the next round. Thank you so much, and peace, y'all.
Awesome.